As we always emphasize in our videos, every Muslim needs to constantly read the Quran. It's Allah speaking directly to each of us. There are three terms the Quran uses for this relationship. In Arabic they are Qira'atul Quran, Tilawatul Quran, wa Tadabburul Quran, which translate to reading the Quran, reciting the Quran, and reflecting on the Quran. Can you explain what each one means?
Sure, Omar. Here's the breakdown. Reading the Quran, simply pronouncing the words of the Quran, silently or aloud. Reciting the Quran, reading it with understanding, intention, and a willingness to follow its guidance. Reflecting on the Quran, deeply thinking about the meanings, wisdom, and purpose behind the verses.
Are we required to memorize the Quran?
No, we're not. If you want to memorize it and are able to, that's great, but it's not required. What is required is that you read, recite, and reflect on the Quran. That's your priority. Memorization comes second to that. Naturally, you should at least memorize short chapters and verses to recite during your prayer.
But I often hear people say the Quran is hard to understand.
Most of the people who claim the Quran is hard to understand haven't even made an honest attempt to read it. Their so-called scholars have convinced them that they need hundreds of other books just to explain the Quran, making them believe they're incapable of understanding Islam without those scholars. Let me share a few verses that summarize what Islam is all about, and I won't even need to explain them because they speak for themselves. I will start with this verse from Al-Baqarah, which is one of my favorite verses that basically summarizes Islam. Righteousness is not that you turn your faces toward the east or the west, but righteousness is in one who believes in Allah, and the last day, and the angels, and the book, and the prophets, and gives wealth, in spite of love for it, to relatives and orphans, and the needy, and the traveler, and those who ask, and in freeing slaves, and those who establish prayer, and give Zakah, and fulfill their promise when they promise, and those who are patient in hardship and suffering and during battle. Those are the ones who have been true, and it is those who are the righteous. Clear enough?
Adam, this couldn't be clearer. These verses list some of what Allah has forbidden. Say, "Come, I will recite what your Lord has prohibited to you, that you not associate anything with him, and to parents good treatment, and do not kill your children out of poverty. We provide for you and for them. And do not approach immoralities, what is apparent of them and what is concealed. And do not kill the soul which Allah has forbidden, except by right. This he has instructed you that you may use reason. And do not approach the orphan's property except in a way that is best until he reaches maturity, and give full measure and weight in justice. We do not burden any soul beyond its capacity. And when you speak, be just, even if it concerns a near relative, and fulfill the covenant of Allah. This he has instructed you that you may remember. And moreover, this is my path, which is straight, so follow it, and do not follow other ways, for you will be separated from his way. This he has instructed you that you may become righteous."
That's perfect, Omar. Now look how beautifully this next passage describes the qualities of true believers and who will enter paradise. Certainly will the believers have succeeded, those who are humble in their prayer, and those who turn away from ill speech, and those who are observant of Zakat, and those who guard their private parts, except from their wives or those their right hands possess, for indeed they are not to be blamed. But whoever seeks beyond that, then they are the transgressors, and those who are faithful to their trusts and their promises, and those who carefully maintain their prayers. They will be the inheritors, who will inherit Al-Firdaus. They will abide therein eternally.
These verses as well from chapter 70, except those who pray, those who are constant in their prayer, and those within whose wealth is a known right, for the petitioner and the deprived, and those who believe in the day of recompense, and those who fear the punishment of their Lord. Indeed, the punishment of their Lord is not something to feel secure from, and those who guard their private parts, except from their wives or those their right hands possess, for indeed they are not blameworthy. But whoever seeks beyond that, then they are the transgressors, and those who are faithful to their trusts and covenants, and those who are upright in their testimonies, and those who properly maintain their prayers. They will be in gardens, honored.
We can list many more clear and straightforward verses, Omar. But then a smart pants will pop up in the comments with a verse or a word that's more complex and say, "See, the Quran isn't easy to understand." As I mentioned earlier, Omar, the Quran does contain verses about science, the universe, and knowledge that may require experts, like a scientist or a linguist, to fully grasp. But those verses aren't about what we need to do or avoid in our daily lives. They're not the commands or prohibitions. They're not the rules we live by. They are there to deepen our understanding, to reflect, and to grow in faith. But when it comes to how to live as Muslims, what to do and what to stay away from, those verses are crystal clear. To be completely honest, there are two issues I still find unclear and continue to seek deeper understanding of: the phrase, "what your right hands possess," and the details of the 4 sacred months. The explanations offered in Hadith books simply don't make sense. But I believe that, with time, someone with strong linguistic expertise and sincere reflection on the Quran will eventually provide a clear and accurate explanation.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed discovering the real Islam and found the information helpful.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you can continue learning more about Islam directly from the Quran.